Picture this, a world where kings and queens ruled over lands shrouded in mystery, where dragons roamed the skies, and where the line between reality and myth blurred into legend. Now imagine that some of the most incredible stories from that time have been lost to history, buried under the weight of centuries. What if I told you that these forgotten tales hold secrets, lessons, and wonders that still echo today? Welcome to a journey through 30 of the most fascinating yet overlooked legends from medieval Europe. These are not just stories, they are windows into a time when the impossible seemed possible, and the extraordinary was just around the corner. From sunken cities to spectral armies, from cursed knights to mythical creatures, these legends have shaped cultures, inspired art, and sparked imaginations for generations. Yet somehow they've slipped through the cracks of history. Why? Perhaps because they were too strange, too fantastical, or too unsettling for the modern world to remember. But today, we're bringing them back to life. Over the next few minutes, we'll dive into tales of heroism, tragedy, and mystery that will leave you questioning what's real and what's myth. So, are you ready to uncover the secrets of the past? Let's begin this adventure together, and by the end, you'll see why these forgotten legends deserve to be remembered. Now, let's set sail to the coast of Brittany, where the waves whisper the tale of a city lost beneath the sea. Legend has it that the city of Wise was once the most magnificent in all of Europe, a glittering jewel built by King Gradlon to protect his beloved daughter, Dahat. Surrounded by towering walls and gates that could only be opened by the king himself, Wise was a place of unimaginable wealth and beauty. Its streets were paved with gold, its palaces adorned with precious gems, and its people lived in luxury. But beneath this splendor lay a darker truth. Dahat, known for her wild and reckless nature, often threw lavish parties that spiraled into chaos. One fateful night, she fell under the influence of a mysterious stranger who convinced her to steal the key to the city's gates from her father. In a moment of betrayal, she opened the gates during a fierce storm, allowing the raging sea to flood the city. Wise was swallowed whole, vanishing beneath the waves in an instant. King Gradlon managed to escape on his magical horse, but Dahat was lost to the sea, transformed into a mermaid or, in some versions, a sea spirit. To this day, fishermen claim to hear the faint tolling of Wise's bells beneath the waves, a haunting reminder of the city's tragic fate. This legend serves as a powerful warning about the dangers of hubris and the consequences of unchecked desire. It's a story that lingers in the collective memory, a testament to the enduring power of myth to teach and to haunt. And as we leave the sunken city behind, let's turn our attention to another tale that echoes through the ages, the eerie story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Now, let's journey to the small town of Hamelin in Germany, where a chilling tale of betrayal and mystery has echoed through the centuries. The story of the Pied Piper begins with a town overrun by rats, a plague of rodents so vast that the people of Hamelin were desperate for a solution. Enter the Pied Piper, a mysterious figure dressed in multicolored clothing, who promised to rid the town of its infestation in exchange for payment. The townsfolk, eager to be free of the rats, agreed to his terms. With a haunting melody played on his pipe, the piper led the rats to the river where they drowned, leaving Hamelin free of the pests. But when the time came to pay, the townspeople refused, breaking their promise. Enraged by their betrayal, the piper returned, this time playing a different tune, one that lured not rats but the children of Hamelin. One by one, the children followed him, dancing to his music, until they vanished into a nearby mountain, never to be seen again. Only 2 children were left behind, one blind, unable to see the piper's path, and one mute, unable to tell the tale. This eerie legend has sparked countless theories over the years. Some historians suggest it may be rooted in real events, such as a mass migration of young people during the Middle Ages, possibly due to economic hardship or the promise of new opportunities in Eastern Europe. Others believe it could be linked to the devastating effects of the plague, with the rat symbolizing disease and the piper representing death itself. Whatever its origins, the story of the Pied Piper has left an indelible mark on culture, inspiring countless retellings in literature, music, and film. It serves as a haunting reminder of the consequences of broken promises and the dangers of underestimating the power of the unknown. As we leave the tragic fate of Hamelin behind, let's turn our attention to another legend that sweeps across the skies of medieval Europe, the terrifying spectacle of the Wild Hunt. Now, let's shift our gaze upward to the stormy skies of medieval Europe, where a chilling phenomenon known as the Wild Hunt was said to take place. This pan-European legend tells of a spectral procession, a terrifying cavalcade of ghostly riders and hounds thundering across the night sky. At the head of this otherworldly parade was often a figure of immense power, sometimes Odin, the Norse god of war and wisdom, or King Arthur, the legendary leader of Camelot. These spectral leaders were said to command the hunt, their presence both awe-inspiring and deeply unsettling. The Wild Hunt was more than just a ghostly parade, it was a harbinger of doom. Witnessing this eerie spectacle was believed to be an omen of catastrophe, war, plague, or even death. The sound of the hunt's horns and the baying of its hounds would echo through the night, sending shivers down the spines of those who heard it. Some legends even claimed that the hunt would sweep up the souls of the unwary, carrying them off to the afterlife or trapping them in its eternal chase. What makes the Wild Hunt so fascinating is its widespread presence across European folklore. In Germany, it was known as the Wilder Jagd, led by figures like Wadden or Frau Holl. In England, it was often associated with Herne the Hunter, a ghostly figure said to haunt Windsor Forest. And in Scandinavia, Odin's role as the leader of the hunt tied it to the mythology of Valhalla and the afterlife. Despite these regional variations, the core elements of the legend remained strikingly similar: a supernatural force, a terrifying spectacle, and a warning of things to come. The Wild Hunt also reflects the medieval fascination with the boundary between the natural and the supernatural. It was a time when people saw omens in the stars, heard whispers in the wind, and believed that the veil between worlds was thin. The hunt embodied these fears and beliefs, serving as a reminder of the unseen forces that could shape human destiny. As we leave the haunting skies of the Wild Hunt behind, let's turn our attention to a quieter, yet equally mysterious tale: the strange story of the Green Children of Woolpit, whose appearance in an English village has puzzled historians and storytellers for centuries. Now, let's step away from the stormy skies and into the quiet countryside of medieval England, where a peculiar and baffling mystery unfolded in the small village of Woolpit. This is the strange tale of the Green Children of Woolpit, a story that has intrigued historians, folklorists, and even modern-day theorists for centuries. The legend begins in the 12th century during the reign of King Stephen, when two children, a brother and sister, were discovered by villagers near a wolf pit from which the village takes its name. What made these children so extraordinary was their appearance. Their skin was a vivid green, a color so unnatural that it immediately set them apart from anyone else. Their clothing, too, was strange, made of an unknown material that no one in the village could identify. At first, the children were unable to communicate, speaking a language that no one understood. They refused to eat any of the food offered to them, growing weaker by the day. Eventually, they were given raw beans, which they eagerly consumed. Over time, the boy, who was younger and more fragile, fell ill and died. His sister, however, survived and gradually adapted to life in Woolpit. As she learned to speak English, she began to share fragments of her story, though much of it remained shrouded in mystery. The girl claimed that she and her brother came from a place called St. Martin's Land, a subterranean world where the sun never shone and everything was bathed in a perpetual twilight. She described her homeland as a place of green hues where the people lived in peace but were separated from the surface world by a great river. One day, while tending to their father's sheep, she and her brother heard a loud noise like the ringing of bells. Drawn to the sound, they wandered into a cave and emerged in Woolpit, disoriented and unable to find their way back. Theories about the Green Children's origins have ranged from the plausible to the fantastical. Some historians suggest they may have been Flemish immigrants, their green skin a result of malnutrition or illness. Others propose they were survivors of a forgotten underground civilization, their story a distorted memory of a real event. More speculative theories even suggest extraterrestrial origins, with the children being visitors from another world. What makes this legend so enduring is its blend of mystery and humanity. The Green Children's tale is not just about their strange appearance or otherworldly origins, it's also a story of survival, adaptation, and the human capacity to find connection even in the most unusual circumstances. As we leave the enigmatic Green Children behind, let's journey next to the medieval legend of the Wandering Jew, a figure cursed to roam the earth for eternity, whose story has echoed through centuries of European folklore. Now, let's turn our attention to a figure whose story has haunted the imaginations of medieval Europe for centuries, the Wandering Jew. This enigmatic legend tells of a man cursed to walk the earth until the end of time, a punishment for his role in taunting Jesus on the way to the crucifixion. It's a tale that blends history, myth, and moral lessons, offering a fascinating glimpse into the fears and beliefs of the Middle Ages. The origins of the Wandering Jew legend are rooted in Christian folklore, with the earliest written accounts appearing in the 13th century. According to the story, as Jesus carried his cross to Golgotha, he paused to rest outside the home of a shoemaker named Ahasuerus. When Jesus asked for a moment of respite, Ahasuerus refused, taunting him to continue on his path. In response, Jesus declared that Ahasuerus would wander the earth without rest until his return at the second coming. From that moment on, the shoemaker became the Wandering Jew, doomed to roam endlessly, witnessing the passage of time and the unfolding of history. Over the centuries, the legend evolved, taking on different forms across Europe. In some versions, the Wandering Jew is portrayed as a tragic figure, burdened by guilt and longing for redemption. In others, he is a mysterious wanderer, appearing at key moments in history to offer cryptic warnings or insights. Sightings of the Wandering Jew were reported in various countries, from Germany to England, each adding new layers to the myth. These accounts often reflected the anxieties of the time, whether it was the fear of divine punishment or the uncertainty of an ever-changing world. The symbolic significance of the Wandering Jew is deeply tied to themes of sin, repentance, and the passage of time. In Christian tradition, he serves as a reminder of the consequences of mocking or rejecting Christ, a cautionary tale for believers. Yet, his endless wandering also speaks to the human condition, our search for meaning, our struggle with guilt, and our hope for eventual redemption. The legend has inspired countless works of literature, art, and music, from medieval ballads to modern novels, each interpreting the figure in new and thought-provoking ways. As we reflect on the Wandering Jew's story, it's worth considering how this legend has endured through the ages. Is it a tale of divine justice, a metaphor for the human experience, or something else entirely? Whatever the interpretation, the Wandering Jew remains a powerful symbol, one that continues to captivate and challenge us. With this haunting figure behind us, let's now journey into the realm of myth and exploration as we uncover the legend of Prester John, a mythical Christian king whose utopian kingdom fueled the dreams of medieval Europe. Now, let's step into a world of wonder and mystery as we explore the legend of Prester John, a tale that captivated the medieval imagination and inspired countless explorers to seek out a kingdom that may have never existed. Prester John, whose name means Priest John, was said to be a powerful Christian king ruling over a utopian realm in the distant East. His kingdom was described as a land of unimaginable wealth, filled with exotic creatures, miraculous treasures, and a people living in harmony under his wise and just rule. This legend, blending fact and fiction, became one of the most enduring myths of the Middle Ages, shaping the dreams and ambitions of an entire era. The story of Prester John first emerged in the 12th century, when a letter supposedly written by the king himself began circulating across Europe. Addressed to the Byzantine emperor and other Christian rulers, the letter detailed the marvels of his kingdom, from rivers of gold to fountains of eternal youth. It also spoke of his vast army, ready to aid fellow Christians in their struggles against non-believers. For medieval Europeans, this letter was more than just a fantastical tale, it was a beacon of hope. At a time when the Crusades were faltering and the Islamic world was expanding, the idea of a powerful Christian ally in the East was incredibly appealing. The legend of Prester John offered a vision of unity and strength, a reminder that Christendom was not alone in its fight. As the legend spread, it began to influence real-world events. European explorers and missionaries set out to find Prester John's kingdom, driven by a mix of religious zeal and the promise of untold riches. Some believed his realm lay in Central Asia, while others thought it might be in India or even Africa. These quests, though ultimately unsuccessful, played a significant role in expanding European knowledge of the world. For instance, the search for Prester John's kingdom encouraged explorers like Marco Polo to venture further into Asia, mapping new territories and establishing trade routes that would shape the course of history. What makes the legend of Prester John so fascinating is how it blurred the lines between myth and reality. Over time, the story evolved, incorporating elements from other cultures and adapting to new discoveries. When Europeans encountered powerful Christian rulers in Ethiopia, they believed they had finally found Prester John's descendants, even though the Ethiopian kings had no connection to the original myth. This blending of fact and fiction highlights the power of storytelling in shaping human ambition and understanding. The legacy of Prester John is a testament to the enduring allure of the unknown. His legend not only fueled exploration but also reflected the hopes, fears, and dreams of medieval Europe. It reminds us that myths, no matter how fantastical, can have a profound impact on the real world, driving people to seek out new horizons and imagine what lies beyond the map. With the legend of Prester John behind us, let's now turn our attention to another epic tale from the medieval world, the Irish saga of the cattle raid of Cooley, where heroism and fate collide in a story that has captivated audiences for centuries. Now let's journey to the rugged landscapes of ancient Ireland, where the epic tale of the cattle raid of Cooley unfolds. Known in Irish as the Táin Bó Cúailnge, this legendary saga is one of the most important pieces of early Irish literature, a story steeped in heroism, supernatural feats, and the inexorable pull of fate. At its heart is the young warrior Cuchulainn, a figure whose extraordinary abilities and tragic destiny have made him a timeless symbol of Irish mythology. The story begins with a dispute over a prized bull, the Brown Bull of Cooley, which Queen Medb of Connacht desires to possess. Determined to claim the bull for her own, Medb gathers a massive army and launches an invasion of Ulster. But there's a catch: the men of Ulster are struck by a mysterious curse that leaves them unable to fight. Enter Cuchulainn, a teenage warrior with unmatched skill and a destiny that sets him apart from ordinary men. Despite his youth, he single-handedly takes on the role of Ulster's defender, using his supernatural abilities to hold off Medb's forces in a series of dramatic battles. Cuchulainn's feats are nothing short of extraordinary. He wields the Gíbog, a deadly spear that inflicts fatal wounds, and enters a battle frenzy known as the warp spasm, transforming into a terrifying, almost otherworldly figure. His courage and prowess are unmatched, but his story is also one of tragedy. Bound by a sense of duty and honor, Cuchulainn fights not for glory but to protect his people, even as he knows his fate is sealed. This tension between heroism and destiny is a central theme of the Táin, making it a deeply moving and thought-provoking tale. The cattle raid of Cooley is more than just a story of battles and bravery. It's a window into the values and beliefs of ancient Ireland. The epic reflects the importance of honor, loyalty, and the warrior's code, while also exploring the inevitability of fate. Cuchulainn's tragic end, foretold from the beginning, underscores the idea that even the greatest heroes cannot escape their destiny. This blend of action and philosophical depth has ensured the Táin's enduring appeal, inspiring countless retellings and adaptations over the centuries. Beyond its narrative power, the Táin Bó Cúailnge holds immense cultural significance. It is one of the oldest surviving works of Irish literature, preserving the language, traditions, and mythology of early Ireland. The story of Cuchulainn has become a symbol of Irish identity, celebrated in art, literature, and even modern media. His legacy continues to resonate, reminding us of the timeless themes of courage, sacrifice, and the human struggle against fate. As we leave the world of Cuchulainn and the cattle raid of Cooley, let's turn our attention to another captivating legend, this time from France, where the tale of Melusine, a mysterious water spirit, weaves a story of love, betrayal, and transformation. Now, let's cross the Irish Sea and venture into the enchanting forests of medieval France, where the legend of Melusine unfolds a tale as mysterious as it is tragic. Melusine, a captivating water spirit, is said to have been cursed by her mother, condemned to transform into a serpent every Saturday. This peculiar curse would shape her destiny and leave an indelible mark on European folklore. The story begins with Raymond of Poitou, a nobleman who stumbles upon Melusine in a secluded forest. Struck by her beauty and grace, Raymond falls deeply in love with her. Melusine agrees to marry him on one condition: he must never see her on Saturdays. Raymond, blinded by love, readily agrees, and the two begin a life together. For years, their marriage is harmonious, and Melusine's wisdom and supernatural abilities bring prosperity to Raymond's lands. She even helps him build magnificent castles which seem to rise almost magically overnight. However, as time passes, whispers and doubts begin to plague Raymond. His curiosity about Melusine's Saturday disappearances grows unbearable. One fateful day, unable to resist any longer, he spies on her. What he discovers is both astonishing and horrifying. Melusine, in her true form, is half serpent. Betrayed and heartbroken, Melusine reveals her curse and the tragic consequences of Raymond's broken promise. She transforms into a dragon and flies away, never to be seen again, leaving Raymond to mourn the loss of his beloved and the prosperity she brought. The legend of Melusine is more than just a story of love and betrayal. It's a reflection of the medieval fascination with the supernatural and the boundaries between the human and otherworldly. Her tale also carries themes of trust, secrecy, and the consequences of breaking sacred vows. Melusine's legacy extends beyond folklore, as her image became a symbol in European heraldry, particularly in the noble houses of Lusignan and Luxembourg. Her serpentine form was often depicted in coats of arms, symbolizing both power and mystery. Melusine's story has endured for centuries, inspiring poets, artists, and writers. Her dual nature, both nurturing and fearsome, captures the imagination, reminding us of the complexities of love and the dangers of unchecked curiosity. As we leave the forests of France behind, let's journey next to the medieval courts of Europe, where the legend of the Swan Knight awaits, a tale of chivalry, mystery, and the enduring allure of the unknown. Now, let's set sail across the shimmering waters of medieval Europe to uncover the enchanting legend of the Swan Knight, a tale steeped in mystery, chivalry, and the timeless allure of the unknown. This story begins with a noblewoman in distress, her fate hanging in the balance until a mysterious knight arrives in the most unexpected way, drawn by a boat pulled by swans. The Swan Knight, often called Lohengrin, is a figure shrouded in intrigue. According to the legend, he appears seemingly out of nowhere, his arrival marked by the graceful glide of swans across the water. The knight offers his aid to the lady, promising to defend her honor and resolve her plight. But there's a catch: she must never ask his name or origins. This condition, much like Melusine's curse, becomes the heart of the tale, weaving themes of trust, secrecy, and the consequences of curiosity into the narrative. The legend of the Swan Knight is deeply intertwined with the Crusades, a period when knights ventured far from home in pursuit of glory and divine purpose. Some versions of the story suggest that the Swan Knight is a descendant of the Holy Grail's guardians, linking him to the spiritual quests of Arthurian legends. His mysterious origins and supernatural connection to the swans evoke the medieval fascination with the divine and the otherworldly, blending historical context with mythical elements. As the story unfolds, the lady and the Swan Knight marry, and for a time their life is filled with peace and prosperity. But as with many medieval tales, the temptation to uncover the truth proves too great. The lady, driven by doubt or perhaps the whispers of others, eventually breaks her promise and asks the forbidden question. In that moment, the Swan Knight reveals his identity and departs, returning to the mystical realm from which he came, leaving behind a legacy of wonder and heartbreak. The tale of the Swan Knight has left a lasting mark on European folklore, particularly in its influence on Arthurian legends. His story echoes the themes of chivalry, sacrifice, and the tension between human curiosity and divine mystery. The swan-drawn boat, a symbol of purity and transformation, has inspired countless retellings, from medieval romances to Richard Wagner's famous opera, Lohengrin. As we leave the shimmering waters behind, let's turn our gaze to the rugged landscapes of Poland, where another legendary creature awaits, the fearsome wall dragon, a tale of cunning, bravery, and the triumph of wit over brute strength. Now let's journey to the heart of medieval Poland, where the ancient city of Krakow lies in the shadow of Wall Hill, home to one of the most fearsome creatures in European folklore, the wall dragon. This legendary beast, known for its fiery breath and insatiable appetite, once terrorized the people of Krakow, leaving a trail of destruction and fear in its wake. But as with many tales of monsters, this story is not just about the creature itself, it's about the cleverness and courage of those who stood against it. The wall dragon, or smok wolski as it's known in Polish, was said to dwell in a cave beneath Wall Castle, emerging to wreak havoc on the city. The dragon's appetite was voracious, devouring livestock, crops, and even the occasional villager. The people of Krakow, desperate for a solution, turned to their king for help. But no knight, no matter how brave, could defeat the beast. That is, until a humble shoemaker named Scuba stepped forward with a plan as ingenious as it was unexpected. Scuba's strategy was simple yet brilliant. He stuffed a sheep's hide with sulfur and left it as bait for the dragon. When the creature devoured the sheep, the sulfur ignited, causing the dragon to drink so much water from the nearby Vistula River that it burst. The shoemaker's cleverness not only saved the city, but also earned him a place in legend as a hero who triumphed through wit rather than brute strength. The tale of the wall dragon is rich with symbolism. On one level, it represents the triumph of intelligence over raw power, a theme that resonates across cultures and time periods. The dragon itself can be seen as a metaphor for chaos and destruction, while Scuba embodies the resourcefulness and ingenuity needed to overcome adversity. The story also reflects the medieval fascination with dragons as symbols of both danger and mystery, creatures that test the limits of human courage and creativity. Historically, the legend of the wall dragon is deeply rooted in Polish culture. Wall Hill, where the dragon's cave is said to be located, has long been a site of great significance, serving as the seat of Polish kings and a symbol of national identity. The dragon's story has been passed down through generations, becoming a beloved part of Poland's folklore and inspiring countless retellings in literature, art, and even modern media. Today, a statue of the wall dragon stands near the cave, breathing fire at regular intervals, a playful nod to the legend that continues to captivate visitors. As we leave the fiery lair of the wall dragon behind, let's turn our attention to another legendary treasure, one that has fascinated storytellers and adventurers for centuries: the cursed hoard of the Nibelungs, a tale of greed, betrayal, and the price of power. Now, let's venture into the misty forests and grand halls of Germanic legend, where the epic tale of the Nibelungs unfolds a story of heroism, betrayal, and a treasure so cursed it brings ruin to all who possess it. At the heart of this saga is Siegfried, a hero of unparalleled strength and courage, whose exploits and tragic fate have echoed through the centuries. Siegfried's journey begins with his slaying of the dragon Fafnir, a feat that not only proves his valor but also grants him the dragon's hoard, a treasure of unimaginable wealth. But this treasure is no ordinary prize. It is cursed, carrying with it a legacy of greed, envy, and destruction. Siegfried, unaware of the curse, takes the treasure and bathes in the dragon's blood, which makes him nearly invincible, save for a single spot on his back where a leaf had fallen. This vulnerability becomes a key element in his tragic downfall. The story takes a darker turn when Siegfried marries Kriemhild, a princess of the Burgundian royal family. His heroic deeds and newfound wealth earn him both admiration and jealousy, particularly from Kriemhild's brother, Gunther, and his treacherous vassal, Hagen. In a cruel twist of fate, Hagen exploits Siegfried's one weakness, stabbing him in the back during a hunting trip. Siegfried's death sets off a chain of events that leads to further betrayal, bloodshed, and the eventual downfall of the Burgundian kingdom. The legend of the Nibelungs is not just a tale of personal tragedy, but also a reflection of the destructive power of greed and vengeance. The cursed treasure, once a symbol of Siegfried's triumph, becomes a catalyst for chaos, illustrating how the pursuit of wealth and power can lead to ruin. This theme resonates deeply in the medieval context, where loyalty, honor, and the consequences of one's actions were central to storytelling. The influence of the Nibelung legend extends far beyond its medieval origins. Perhaps its most famous adaptation is in Richard Wagner's operatic cycle, Der Ring des Nibelungen, which reimagines the tale with a focus on the cursed ring and its role in the downfall of gods and heroes alike. Wagner's interpretation brought the story to a global audience, cementing its place in the cultural imagination and inspiring countless retellings in literature, film, and art. Even today, the legend of the Nibelungs endures as a powerful narrative about the complexities of human ambition and the price of unchecked desire. Its themes of heroism, betrayal, and fate continue to captivate audiences, reminding us of the timeless nature of these ancient stories. As we leave the shadow of the Nibelungs' cursed treasure behind, let's turn our attention to another fearsome creature from medieval lore: the basilisk, a serpent so deadly its very gaze could bring death. Now, let's shift our focus to a creature so terrifying that its very presence was said to bring death: the basilisk. Known as the King of Serpents, this mythical beast was believed to be born from a rooster's egg, a bizarre and unnatural origin that only added to its aura of dread. The basilisk was no ordinary serpent. It was a creature of pure malevolence, feared across medieval Europe for its deadly abilities and its role as a symbol of ultimate evil. The basilisk's most infamous power was its gaze. A single look from its eyes could kill instantly. Legends claimed that even its breath was toxic, capable of withering plants and poisoning the air. Some stories went further, suggesting that the mere sound of its hiss could strike terror into the hearts of those who heard it. This combination of lethal traits made the basilisk a creature of nightmares, often used in folklore to represent the dangers of unchecked corruption and destruction. But how could such a fearsome beast be defeated? Medieval tales offered a few intriguing methods. One of the most common was the use of a weasel, believed to be the basilisk's natural enemy. It was said that the weasel's scent could neutralize the basilisk's deadly powers, allowing it to attack and kill the serpent. Another method involved mirrors. By reflecting the basilisk's gaze back at itself, the creature could be forced to succumb to its own lethal stare. These solutions, while fantastical, reveal the medieval fascination with finding ways to overcome even the most insurmountable threats. The basilisk also held a symbolic role in medieval culture. It was often used as a metaphor for sin, temptation, and the corrupting influence of evil. In religious texts, the basilisk was sometimes compared to the devil himself, embodying the destructive forces that humanity must resist. This dual role, as both a literal monster and a moral warning, made the basilisk a compelling figure in stories and sermons alike. Interestingly, the legend of the basilisk may have been inspired by real-world encounters with venomous snakes or other dangerous creatures. Medieval Europeans, lacking scientific understanding, often exaggerated the abilities of animals they feared, creating myths that blended fact and fiction. Over time, these stories evolved, taking on new layers of meaning and becoming a staple of European folklore. The basilisk's legacy endures in modern culture, appearing in literature, films, and even video games as a symbol of ultimate danger. Its fearsome reputation continues to captivate audiences, reminding us of humanity's enduring fascination with the monstrous and the unknown. As we leave the basilisk behind, let's turn our attention to another legendary figure, one born not from a rooster's egg but from the earth itself, the Golem of Prague. Now let's journey from the realm of deadly serpents to a tale of creation and protection, the legend of the Golem. This story, rooted in Jewish folklore, tells of a creature made not from flesh and blood but from clay, brought to life through ancient rituals to serve as a guardian of the Jewish people. The golem's origins are most famously tied to the city of Prague, where it is said to have been created by Rabbi Judah Loew ben Bezalel in the 16th century. According to the legend, the golem was fashioned from the mud of the Vieltova River and animated by inscribing the Hebrew word emet, meaning truth, on its forehead. This act granted the creature life and immense strength, making it a formidable protector against those who sought to harm the Jewish community. The golem was not just a physical defender, it was also a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of persecution. Its creation reflected the belief that divine power could be channeled to safeguard the vulnerable, even in the darkest of times. But the golem was not without its complexities. While it served its purpose as a protector, it was also a being of immense power, and its strength could become uncontrollable. Some versions of the legend describe the golem growing increasingly violent, forcing its creator to deactivate it by erasing the first letter of emet, changing the word to met, meaning death. This act returned the golem to lifeless clay, a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between creation and destruction, power and responsibility. The golem's story carries deep symbolic meaning. It represents the human desire to harness power for protection and justice, but it also serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked authority. The golem's dual nature, both protector and potential threat, mirrors the complexities of human ambition and the ethical dilemmas that arise when we seek to control forces beyond our understanding. Over the centuries, the legend of the golem has inspired countless retellings in literature, theater, and film. From Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which echoes the themes of creation and responsibility, to modern adaptations in comics and movies, the golem's influence is undeniable. Its story continues to resonate, reminding us of the timeless questions about power, morality, and the consequences of playing creator. As we leave the golem behind, let's turn our attention to another haunting figure from European folklore, the Lorelei, a siren-like maiden whose enchanting voice lured sailors to their doom on the Rhine. Now, as we drift from the clay-bound streets of Prague, let us follow the currents of the Rhine River, where another haunting legend awaits, the tale of the Lorelei. This German myth tells of a mysterious maiden whose beauty and voice were as enchanting as they were deadly. Perched high on a steep rock overlooking the Rhine, the Loreley is said to have sung with a voice so mesmerizing that sailors passing below would lose all sense of direction, their ships crashing against the treacherous rocks. The story of the Loreley is steeped in both romance and tragedy. Some versions of the legend describe her as a young woman betrayed by love, driven to throw herself into the river in despair. Others paint her as a supernatural being, a siren or nymph whose purpose was to lure men to their doom. Regardless of the interpretation, the Loreley's tale captures the imagination, blending the allure of beauty with the inevitability of destruction. The Loreley's legend is deeply intertwined with the Rhine River, a vital waterway that has inspired countless stories and songs throughout German history. The rock itself, towering over the river, became a symbol of both danger and enchantment. Sailors would speak of hearing her song echoing through the mist, a haunting melody that promised both wonder and peril. This duality, her ability to captivate and destroy, has made the Loreley a timeless figure in folklore. The tale also found its way into German poetry and music, most notably in Heinrich Heine's famous poem, Die Loreley, which immortalized her story in the 19th century. Heine's verses capture the melancholy and allure of the legend, describing the maiden combing her golden hair while singing a song that spells doom for those who hear it. The poem was later set to music, further cementing the Loreley's place in German culture. Beyond its romantic and tragic elements, the Loreley story serves as a metaphor for the dangers of temptation and the consequences of being led astray by beauty or desire. Her legend reminds us that not all that glitters is gold, and that sometimes the most alluring things can lead to ruin. As we leave the haunting echoes of the Loreley song behind, let us venture into another realm of European folklore, where spectral figures and ghostly apparitions take center stage. Next, we'll explore the chilling tales of the White Lady, a ghostly presence said to haunt castles and ancient estates across the continent. From the haunting melodies of the Rhine, we now turn our gaze to the shadowy corridors of Europe's castles, where the spectral figure of the White Lady lingers in the annals of folklore. This ghostly apparition, cloaked in ethereal white, is a recurring presence in tales across the continent, often tied to themes of tragic love, betrayal, and untimely death. Her story is not confined to one region but echoes through the halls of history, from the misty highlands of Scotland to the sunlit ruins of Mediterranean estates. The White Lady is said to appear in various forms, but her essence remains the same, a sorrowful spirit bound to the mortal world by unresolved grief or unfinished business. In some tales, she is a noblewoman who met a tragic end, perhaps betrayed by a lover or wronged by her family. In others, she is a mother mourning the loss of her child, her ghostly form forever searching for solace. Her appearances are often accompanied by an air of melancholy, her presence signaling impending doom or serving as a reminder of past injustices. One of the most famous White Lady legends comes from the Czech Republic, where the ghost of Prester of Rosenberg is said to haunt the halls of Rosenberg Castle. Prester, a noblewoman from the 15th century, was forced into a loveless marriage and endured years of hardship. After her death, her spirit reportedly returned to the castle, clad in white, to wander its corridors and seek justice for the wrongs she suffered. Her story is a poignant reminder of the struggles faced by women in a time when their fates were often dictated by others. In Germany, the White Lady is often associated with the Hohenzollern family, particularly with the ghost of Countess Kunigund, who is said to haunt the ancestral castle of the same name. Her tale is one of forbidden love and tragic consequences, as she was rumored to have been involved in a scandal that led to her untimely death. Her spectral figure, dressed in flowing white robes, is said to appear before significant events, serving as an omen of change or disaster. The White Lady's presence is not limited to Central Europe. In England, she is often linked to the ghostly legends surrounding castles like Arundel and Hever, where her appearances are tied to stories of lost love and betrayal. Similarly, in France, the Château de Brissac is said to be haunted by the ghost of Charlotte of France, known as the Green Lady, whose story shares many parallels with the White Lady archetype. What unites these tales across Europe is the recurring theme of tragedy and the enduring power of love and loss. The White Lady is more than just a ghost, she is a symbol of the human condition, a reminder of the pain that can linger long after death. Her stories invite us to reflect on the past, to consider the lives of those who came before us, and to ponder the mysteries that bind the living and the dead. As we leave the spectral halls of the White Lady behind, let us journey further into the realm of the supernatural, where another eerie figure awaits, a creature whose presence has long been feared as an omen of death. Next, we'll explore the chilling folklore of the Black Dog, a spectral hound whose shadow looms large in British legend. From the sorrowful halls of the White Lady, we now step into the shadowy realm of British folklore, where the ominous figure of the Black Dog prowls. This spectral hound, often described as a massive, shaggy creature with glowing red eyes, has long been feared as a harbinger of death and misfortune. Its presence is deeply rooted in the myths and legends of the British Isles, where tales of this ghostly beast have been passed down through generations, each adding its own twist to the chilling narrative. The Black Dog is not confined to a single story or region. Across England, Scotland, and Wales, variations of this legend abound, each reflecting the unique fears and traditions of the local communities. In some tales, the Black Dog is a guardian spirit protecting travelers on lonely roads or ancient burial sites. In others, it is a malevolent force appearing before disasters or deaths, its howl echoing through the night as a grim warning. One of the most famous versions of this legend comes from East Anglia, where the Black Shuck, as it is known, is said to roam the countryside. According to local lore, the Black Shuck once burst into a church during a storm, leaving claw marks on the door and striking terror into the hearts of the congregation. The symbolic meaning of the Black Dog is as varied as its appearances. In some interpretations, it represents the inevitability of death, a reminder of the fragility of life. In others, it embodies the darker aspects of human nature, fear, guilt, and the unknown. The Black Dog has also found its way into literature, where it has been used as a powerful metaphor for depression and despair. Writers like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Emily Bronte have drawn on this folklore to create haunting imagery in their works, cementing the Black Dog's place in the cultural imagination. In the Scottish Highlands, the Black Dog is often linked to the Cooley, a fairy hound said to roam the moors. Unlike its English counterpart, the Cooley is not always seen as an omen of death, but is instead associated with the fairy realm, serving as a guardian or a messenger between worlds. Similarly, in Wales, the Gwilgi, or Dog of Darkness, is a spectral hound that haunts lonely roads, its appearance often foretelling tragedy. The enduring appeal of the Black Dog legend lies in its ability to tap into universal fears and emotions. Whether as a protector or a portent of doom, this spectral hound continues to captivate and terrify, its stories woven into the fabric of British folklore. As we leave the shadow of the Black Dog behind, let us venture further into the mysteries of the supernatural, where another chilling figure awaits, a creature whose very name strikes fear into the hearts of those who hear it. Next, we'll delve into the harrowing tale of the Werewolf of Bedburg, a story that blurs the line between man and beast. Now, as we step away from the spectral hounds of British folklore, we find ourselves in the dark forests of medieval Germany, where the line between man and beast becomes terrifyingly blurred. Here, the chilling tale of Peter Stump, the Werewolf of Bedburg, unfolds a story that shocked and horrified an entire region during the 16th century. Peter Stump, a farmer from the small town of Bedburg, was accused of being a werewolf, a creature feared across Europe for its ability to transform from human to wolf. His trial in the year 1589 became one of the most infamous cases of lycanthropy in history. According to the accusations, Stump had made a pact with the devil, granting him the power to transform into a wolf. He was said to have terrorized the countryside for over 25 years, committing unspeakable acts of violence, including murder and cannibalism. The details of his crimes, as recounted during the trial, were so gruesome that they sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. The fear of werewolves or lycanthropy was deeply rooted in medieval Europe. People believed that certain individuals could transform into wolves, either through witchcraft, curses, or deals with dark forces. This fear was often fueled by superstition, religious fervor, and the harsh realities of life in a time when wolves still roamed the forests, posing a real threat to livestock and people. Werewolf trials, much like witch trials, became a way for communities to explain and control the chaos around them. Those accused of lycanthropy were often subjected to brutal interrogations and executions, their stories serving as cautionary tales about the dangers of straying from moral and religious norms. Peter Stump's case was particularly sensational. After his arrest, he confessed under torture to his crimes, claiming that the devil had given him a magical belt that allowed him to transform into a wolf. His trial ended with a gruesome execution. He was broken on the wheel, beheaded, and his body burned. His head was then placed on a stake as a warning to others, and his story became a grim reminder of the power of fear and superstition in shaping human behavior. The legend of the Werewolf of Bedburg offers a fascinating glimpse into the mindset of medieval Europe, where the boundaries between reality and myth were often indistinct. It reflects the deep-seated fears of the unknown and the lengths to which people would go to protect themselves from perceived threats. As we leave the haunting tale of Peter Stump behind, we turn our attention to another legendary creature, one that terrorized the people of Provence in southern France. Next, we'll explore the story of the Tarasque, a dragon-like beast tamed by the power of faith and courage. Now, as we journey from the shadowy forests of Germany to the sunlit landscapes of southern France, we encounter a legend that blends terror with redemption, the tale of the Tarasque. This fearsome creature, part dragon, part beast, was said to have terrorized the region of Provence, spreading fear and destruction wherever it roamed. Described as having the body of a lion, the shell of a turtle, and a serpent's tail, the Tarasque was a monstrous hybrid that seemed unstoppable. Its very presence was enough to send entire villages into panic as it devoured livestock, destroyed crops, and left chaos in its wake. But the story of the Tarasque is not just one of destruction, it's also a tale of faith and courage. Enter Saint Martha, a figure revered in Christian tradition for her piety and strength. According to the legend, Martha traveled to Provence to confront the beast. Armed not with weapons but with her unwavering faith, she approached the Tarasque and tamed it with prayer and holy water. The creature, once a symbol of terror, became docile under her influence, allowing her to lead it back to the town of Tarascon. There, the townspeople, still gripped by fear, attacked and killed the now harmless beast. Though the Tarasque met a tragic end, its story became a powerful symbol of the triumph of good over evil and the transformative power of faith. The legend of the Tarasque holds deep symbolic meaning. It represents the struggle between chaos and order, fear and faith, and the human desire to conquer the unknown. In medieval times, the story served as a moral lesson, reminding people of the importance of virtue and the power of divine intervention. Over the centuries, the Tarasque has also become a central figure in local festivals, particularly in Tarascon, where its legend is celebrated with parades, reenactments, and elaborate costumes. These festivities keep the story alive, blending history, myth, and community tradition in a vibrant display of cultural heritage. As we reflect on the tale of the Tarasque, we see how it captures the imagination and serves as a bridge between the past and the present. Its legacy endures not only in the folklore of Provence, but also in the hearts of those who continue to celebrate its story. From a creature of terror to a symbol of faith and resilience, the Tarasque reminds us that even the most fearsome challenges can be overcome with courage and conviction. And now, as we leave the shores of Provence, we set our sights on the open seas, where another legendary figure awaits, the ghostly captain of the Flying Dutchman, doomed to sail the oceans for eternity. As we leave the shores of Provence and set our course across the vast, open seas, we find ourselves drawn to one of the most enduring maritime legends of all time, the tale of the Flying Dutchman. This ghostly ship, cursed to sail the oceans for eternity, has captured the imaginations of sailors and storytellers for centuries. Its origins are shrouded in mystery, with some accounts tracing it back to the 17th century, when a Dutch captain, driven by ambition or desperation, vowed to round the Cape of Good Hope during a violent storm, even if it took him until Judgment Day. For his defiance, he was condemned to roam the seas forever, his ship a spectral apparition that appears to doomed sailors as an omen of misfortune. The legend of the Flying Dutchman is steeped in the superstitions of sailors who believed that sighting the ghost ship was a harbinger of disaster. Stories abound of crews spotting the phantom vessel with its tattered sails glowing eerily in the moonlight, only to vanish moments later. These encounters were often followed by storms, shipwrecks, or other calamities, cementing the Flying Dutchman's reputation as a symbol of doom. The tale also reflects the dangers and uncertainties of life at sea, where storms, isolation, and the unknown could easily fuel the imagination and give rise to such haunting myths. But the Flying Dutchman's influence extends far beyond the realm of sailors' superstitions. Over time, the legend has woven itself into the fabric of popular culture, inspiring countless works of literature, art, and film. From Richard Wagner's famous opera to appearances in movies like Pirates of the Caribbean, the ghost ship has become a timeless symbol of mystery and the supernatural. Its story resonates with themes of eternal punishment, the consequences of hubris, and the thin line between the natural and the otherworldly. Even today, the Flying Dutchman continues to fascinate, serving as a reminder of humanity's enduring fascination with the sea and its many secrets. As we reflect on this haunting legend, we see how it bridges the gap between the tangible and the intangible, the known and the unknown. The Flying Dutchman is more than just a ghost story. It's a testament to the power of myth to capture our deepest fears and curiosities. And now, as we sail away from this spectral tale, we turn our attention to a very different kind of legend, one that speaks not of curses, but of hope, sacrifice, and the innocence of youth. The story of the Children's Crusade awaits, a poignant reminder of the complexities of faith and the human spirit. As we shift our focus from the spectral seas to the dusty roads of medieval Europe, we encounter a legend that is both heartbreaking and thought-provoking: the Children's Crusade. This tragic tale, often overshadowed by the more well-known military campaigns of the Crusades, tells the story of thousands of children who, driven by faith and fervor, set out to reclaim the Holy Land. It's a story that blurs the line between history and myth, leaving us to wonder how much of it is rooted in fact and how much is the product of later storytelling. The Children's Crusade is said to have taken place in the early 13th century, during a time when the idea of reclaiming Jerusalem from Muslim control was still a powerful motivator for many in Europe. According to the legend, a young boy named Stephen of Cloyes in France and another named Nicholas in Germany claimed to have received divine visions calling them to lead an army of children to the Holy Land. Inspired by their words, thousands of young boys and girls, some as young as 6 or 7, left their homes to join this extraordinary mission. They believed their innocence and purity would succeed where the armies of kings and knights had failed. But the reality of their journey was far from the divine triumph they had envisioned. Many of these children faced unimaginable hardships, starvation, disease, and exploitation. Some never made it beyond the borders of their own countries, while others were sold into slavery or perished during the long and treacherous journey. The historical accuracy of the Children's Crusade is still debated among scholars. Some argue that it was a real event, though likely exaggerated over time, while others suggest it may have been a misinterpretation of other movements or even a symbolic tale meant to convey moral lessons. Regardless of its historical truth, the legend of the Children's Crusade carries profound moral and emotional weight. It serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of blind faith and the vulnerability of the young and innocent. The story also reflects the complexities of medieval society, where religious fervor could inspire both great acts of devotion and tragic missteps. It's a tale that forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about the role of faith, the exploitation of the vulnerable, and the consequences of idealism untempered by reality. The enduring legacy of the Children's Crusade lies in its ability to resonate across centuries. It has inspired countless works of literature, art, and music, each grappling with its themes of innocence, sacrifice, and the human cost of idealism. The story continues to captivate us not just as a historical curiosity, but as a poignant reminder of the power and peril of belief. As we leave this tragic chapter behind, we turn our attention to another legend that speaks to the resilience of faith and the mysteries of time. The Tale of the Seven Sleepers, a story that bridges the worlds of Christianity and Islam with its timeless themes of endurance and divine protection. Now, as we step into the realm of timeless faith and divine mysteries, we encounter the legend of the Seven Sleepers, a story that transcends religious boundaries and speaks to the enduring power of belief. This tale, cherished in both Christian and Islamic traditions, tells of a group of young men who sought refuge in a cave to escape religious persecution, only to awaken centuries later, their faith unshaken and their story immortalized. The legend begins in the 3rd century during the reign of the Roman Emperor Decius, a time when Christians faced severe persecution for their beliefs. 7 young men devoted to their faith fled to a cave near the city of Ephesus to escape the emperor's wrath. There, they prayed for deliverance and fell into a deep, miraculous sleep. According to the story, they remained asleep for hundreds of years, their bodies preserved by divine intervention, until they awoke in a world where Christianity had become the dominant faith. What makes this legend so fascinating is its universal appeal. In Christianity, the 7 sleepers are celebrated as martyrs and symbols of resurrection, their story echoing themes of divine protection and the triumph of faith over adversity. In Islamic tradition, the tale is recounted in the Quran, where they are known as the people of the cave, or Ashab al-Kahf. Here, their story serves as a powerful reminder of God's mercy and the certainty of resurrection, reinforcing the idea that faith can endure even the passage of centuries. The cultural significance of the 7 sleepers extends far beyond religious texts. Their story has inspired countless works of art, literature, and even architecture, with caves and shrines dedicated to their memory across Europe and the Middle East. The legend also raises intriguing questions about the nature of time, the resilience of faith, and the ways in which stories can bridge different cultures and beliefs. At its heart, the legend of the 7 sleepers is a testament to the enduring power of faith and the human spirit's ability to persevere in the face of persecution. It reminds us that stories of hope and resilience can transcend time, geography, and even religious divides, offering comfort and inspiration to generations. As we reflect on this remarkable tale, we're reminded of the ways in which legends like these continue to shape our understanding of the past and our hopes for the future. With this story of faith and endurance still lingering in our minds, we now turn to another legend steeped in mystery and intrigue. The myth surrounding the Knights Templar, a brotherhood of warrior monks whose secrets and treasures have captivated imaginations for centuries. Shifting our focus from tales of divine intervention to the shadowy corridors of medieval intrigue, we now uncover the legend of the Knights Templar, a brotherhood of warrior monks whose story is as much about mystery as it is about history. Founded in the early 12th century, the Knights Templar began as a small group of knights dedicated to protecting Christian pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. But their mission quickly expanded, and so did their power, wealth, and influence, making them one of the most formidable forces of the Middle Ages. The Templars' rise to prominence was nothing short of extraordinary. With the backing of the Church, they amassed vast estates, built fortresses across Europe and the Middle East, and even pioneered an early form of banking, allowing pilgrims to deposit funds in one location and withdraw them in another. Their distinctive white mantles adorned with a red cross became a symbol of their piety and military prowess. Yet it was this very power that sowed the seeds of their downfall. By the early 14th century, the Templars had become too influential for some to tolerate, and their secretive rituals and immense wealth made them targets of suspicion and envy. The fall of the Templars is as dramatic as their rise. In 1307, King Philip IV of France, deeply in debt to the order, orchestrated a brutal crackdown. Accused of heresy, blasphemy, and other crimes, the Templars were arrested, tortured, and forced to confess to false charges. Their Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burned at the stake in 1314, and the order was officially dissolved. But the story doesn't end there. The Templars' sudden disappearance gave rise to countless myths and legends, many of which persist to this day. One of the most enduring myths is the idea that the Templars discovered and hid vast treasures, including the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant, during their time in the Holy Land. Some believe these treasures were smuggled to secret locations, waiting to be rediscovered. Others claim the Templars possessed ancient knowledge or mystical artifacts that granted them extraordinary powers. These theories have fueled countless books, movies, and even modern-day treasure hunts, keeping the Templars alive in popular imagination. Another layer of intrigue surrounds their alleged secret rituals. Stories of initiation ceremonies, cryptic symbols, and hidden codes have led many to speculate that the Templars were more than just a military order. They were guardians of esoteric knowledge. Some even suggest that their legacy lives on in secret societies like the Freemasons, though historians debate the validity of these claims. What's undeniable is the Templars' ability to captivate our imaginations, blending history with mystery in a way that few other legends can. The Knights Templars story is a reminder of how power, secrecy, and myth can intertwine to create a legacy that outlasts the facts. Whether as historical figures or legendary icons, the Templars continue to inspire fascination, debate, and even conspiracy theories, proving that their influence extends far beyond the medieval world. As we leave the enigmatic world of the Templars behind, we turn next to another legendary quest: the search for the Holy Grail, a symbol of divine grace and eternal mystery. Now, as we step into the realm of Arthurian legend, we encounter one of the most enduring symbols of divine grace and eternal mystery, the Holy Grail. This sacred cup, said to have been used by Jesus at the Last Supper, has captivated imaginations for centuries, becoming the centerpiece of countless tales of chivalry, faith, and quest. The Grail is more than just a relic. It represents the ultimate spiritual journey, a test of purity, courage, and devotion for those who seek it. In the Arthurian legends, the quest for the Holy Grail becomes a defining moment for King Arthur's knights. Figures like Sir Percival and Sir Galahad are drawn into this sacred mission, each embodying different aspects of the ideal knight. Percival, often portrayed as the innocent and humble seeker, learns through his trials that the Grail is not just a physical object but a symbol of inner enlightenment. Galahad, on the other hand, is depicted as the perfect knight, pure of heart and soul, destined to achieve the Grail where others fail. Their stories highlight the tension between earthly ambition and spiritual fulfillment, a theme that resonated deeply in medieval society. The Grail's spiritual symbolism is rich and multifaceted. For medieval Christians, it represented the ultimate connection to the divine, a vessel of God's grace and a reminder of Christ's sacrifice. Its elusive nature mirrored the idea that true spiritual enlightenment could not be easily attained. It required perseverance, humility, and unwavering faith. This made the Grail not just a relic to be found, but a metaphor for the soul's journey toward salvation. The influence of the Holy Grail on medieval literature cannot be overstated. It became a central motif in the romances of the time, inspiring poets and storytellers to weave intricate tales of adventure and introspection. Works like Chrétien de Troyes' Percival, The Story of the Grail, and the later Quest del Saint Graal expanded the legend, adding layers of symbolism and moral complexity. These stories not only entertained but also served as allegories for the spiritual struggles of their audience, blending the fantastical with the deeply personal. Even beyond the Middle Ages, the Holy Grail has continued to inspire. Its themes of quest and redemption have found their way into modern literature, film, and art, proving that its allure is timeless. Whether as a literal object of divine power or a metaphor for the unattainable ideal, the Grail remains a powerful symbol of humanity's eternal search for meaning. As we leave the mystical quest for the Holy Grail behind, we turn next to a tale that brings us closer to the heart of European folklore, the legend of the Mermaid of Warsaw, a protector whose story is as enchanting as it is enduring. Now, let us dive into the shimmering waters of Polish folklore, where the legend of the Mermaid of Warsaw awaits. This enchanting tale centers around a mystical mermaid who became the guardian and symbol of the city of Warsaw, weaving her story into the very fabric of its identity. Unlike the mermaids of other legends who often lure sailors to their doom, the Mermaid of Warsaw is a benevolent figure, a protector who watches over the city and its people. The origins of this legend are as mysterious as the mermaid herself. Some say she emerged from the Vistula River, drawn by the beauty of the land and its people. Others believe she was a wandering spirit who chose Warsaw as her home, sensing the city's potential for greatness. Regardless of her beginnings, her presence became a source of inspiration and pride for the locals. According to the tale, she once saved a group of fishermen from a terrible storm, guiding their boats safely to shore. From that day forward, she was revered as a guardian spirit, her image etched into the hearts of the city's inhabitants. Her role in local folklore is deeply intertwined with Warsaw's history. The mermaid is often depicted with a sword and shield, symbols of her readiness to defend the city against any threat. This imagery reflects the resilience and courage of the people of Warsaw, who have faced countless challenges throughout their history. The mermaid's story became a rallying point, a reminder of the city's strength and unity in the face of adversity. One of the most striking aspects of this legend is its enduring presence in Warsaw's culture. The mermaid is prominently featured in the city's coat of arms, standing proudly with her sword raised, a testament to her role as a protector. Statues of her can be found throughout Warsaw, with the most famous one located in the Old Town Square. This bronze statue, crafted in the 19th century, has become a beloved landmark, drawing visitors who wish to pay homage to the city's mythical guardian. The Mermaid of Warsaw is more than just a figure of folklore. She is a symbol of hope, resilience, and the enduring spirit of the city. Her story continues to inspire, reminding us of the power of myth to shape our understanding of the world and our place within it. As we leave the waters of Warsaw behind, we prepare to venture into the dense forests of medieval Europe, where the legend of the wild man awaits, a figure shrouded in mystery and myth. Now, let us step into the shadowy depths of medieval Europe's forests, where the legend of the wild man comes alive. This enigmatic figure, often depicted as a hairy, primitive being, roamed the untamed wilderness, embodying the raw, untamed forces of nature. The wild man was more than just a creature of myth. He represented the boundary between civilization and the wild, a reminder of humanity's primal roots and the mysteries that lay beyond the edges of settled land. The wild man's origins are as ancient as the forests themselves. In medieval folklore, he was often portrayed as a solitary figure, living in harmony with the natural world, yet feared by those who ventured too close. His appearance, covered in thick fur, wielding a crude club or staff, symbolized both the danger and the allure of the unknown. To some, he was a protector of the forest, a guardian of its secrets. To others, he was a warning, a manifestation of the chaos that could engulf those who strayed from the safety of their communities. This duality made the wild man a powerful symbol in medieval art and literature. He appeared in tapestries, manuscripts, and carvings, often depicted in scenes of struggle or transformation. In some stories, he was a figure of redemption, a man who had abandoned society to live in the wild, only to return with newfound wisdom. In others, he was a cautionary tale, a reminder of the consequences of losing one's humanity to base instincts. His image was also used to explore themes of identity and transformation, as he blurred the line between man and beast. The wild man's influence extended beyond folklore into the cultural imagination of medieval Europe. He became a popular figure in festivals and pageants, where performers dressed as the wild man to entertain and provoke thought. These performances often played on the tension between order and chaos, reflecting the anxieties of a society grappling with its own boundaries and beliefs. Even in heraldry, the wild man found a place, symbolizing strength, resilience, and the untamed spirit of the land. As we leave the forests and the legend of the wild man behind, we prepare to uncover another haunting tale from medieval Europe. The legend of the phantom army, spectral warriors said to march across the land, their presence a harbinger of both awe and dread. Now, as we step away from the untamed forests and into the realm of the supernatural, we encounter one of the most chilling and enigmatic legends of medieval Europe, the phantom army. These spectral warriors, said to march across the land under the cover of night or during eerie twilight hours, have haunted the imaginations of countless generations. Their ghostly presence, often tied to historical battles and tragic events, has left an indelible mark on European folklore, blending history, myth, and the human psyche into a single haunting narrative. The tales of the phantom army are as varied as the regions they are said to haunt. In some accounts, these ghostly soldiers are the restless spirits of fallen warriors, doomed to relive their final battles for eternity. In others, they are seen as omens, their appearance foretelling impending disaster or great change. One of the most famous versions of this legend comes from England, where the spectral army of King Arthur is said to rise from the mists of Avalon, ready to defend the land in its hour of greatest need. Similarly, in Germany, the Wild Hunt, a ghostly procession led by figures like Odin or King Arthur, is often intertwined with the idea of a phantom army storming through the skies as a harbinger of doom. The origins of these legends are deeply rooted in the collective memory of historical conflicts. Europe's medieval period was marked by almost constant warfare, from the Viking invasions to the 100 Years' War. The trauma of these battles, the loss of life, and the destruction left in their wake gave rise to stories of ghostly armies, as people sought to make sense of the chaos and devastation around them. These tales served as a way to process grief, honor the dead, and perhaps even warn future generations of the horrors of war. Culturally, the phantom army became a powerful symbol of both fear and reverence. In some traditions, they were seen as protectors, their ghostly march a reminder of the sacrifices made to defend the land. In others, they were a warning, their appearance signaling that the boundaries between the living and the dead had been breached. These stories were often used to reinforce moral lessons, emphasizing the consequences of violence and the importance of remembering the past. But beyond their cultural significance, the legends of the Phantom Army also offer fascinating insights into the human mind. Psychologists and folklorists have suggested that these tales may have arisen from natural phenomena, such as the eerie sounds of wind howling through valleys or the play of light on misty landscapes, which could easily be mistaken for the sounds and sights of a ghostly army. Additionally, the stress and trauma of living in a war-torn society may have contributed to collective hallucinations or shared visions, further fueling the belief in these spectral forces. As we leave the haunting image of the phantom army behind, we prepare to cross into another realm of medieval legend, one where bridges are built with the help of dark forces, and the price of progress is steep. The next tale takes us to the Devil's Bridge, where the line between human ingenuity and supernatural intervention blurs in the most unsettling of ways. Now, as we move from the spectral echoes of the Phantom Army, we find ourselves standing at the edge of a different kind of mystery, one where human ambition meets the supernatural in a chilling bargain. This brings us to the eerie and fascinating legend of the Devil's Bridge, a tale that spans across Europe and speaks to the lengths people would go to overcome nature's obstacles, even if it meant striking a deal with the devil himself. The Devil's Bridge is not just one story, but a collection of legends tied to ancient bridges found in countries like Germany, France, Switzerland, and Wales. These bridges, often marvels of medieval engineering, are said to have been built with the help of the devil. According to the tales, the construction of these bridges was so difficult or seemingly impossible that the builders turned to supernatural forces for assistance. But as with all deals involving the devil, there was always a price to pay, and it was rarely a small one. One of the most famous versions of this legend comes from the Teufelsbrücke, or Devil's Bridge, in Switzerland. Here, the story goes that the local villagers were desperate to build a bridge across a treacherous gorge, but the task was beyond their capabilities. The devil appeared and offered to build the bridge in exchange for the soul of the first living being to cross it. The villagers agreed, but when the bridge was completed, they outsmarted the devil by sending a goat or a dog across first, leaving the devil empty-handed. While this version has a somewhat humorous twist, other tales are far darker, often involving human sacrifice or tragic consequences for those who made the pact. Architecturally, these bridges are often remarkable feats of engineering, especially considering the time periods in which they were built. Their sturdy construction and strategic locations suggest that they were vital for trade, travel, and communication. Yet, the legends surrounding them add a layer of moral complexity. They serve as cautionary tales, warning against the dangers of greed, hubris, and the temptation to take shortcuts, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges. The moral significance of these stories is profound. They reflect the medieval mindset where the line between the natural and the supernatural was often blurred. The devil in these tales is not just a malevolent figure but a symbol of the consequences of overreaching ambition. The bridges themselves become metaphors for the human struggle to conquer nature, reminding us that every achievement comes with a cost. Across Europe, the Devil's Bridge legends vary in their details but share common themes. In France, the Pont du Diable in the Languedoc region is said to have been built by the devil after a pact with a local monk. In Wales, the Devil's Bridge in Ceredigion is tied to a story of a woman who tricked the devil into building the bridge to save her cow. These regional variations highlight the universality of the legend, as well as the creativity of local storytellers in adapting it to their own landscapes and cultures. As we leave the shadow of the Devil's Bridge behind, we prepare to step into another realm of medieval mystery, one where the undead walk the earth, and the line between myth and reality grows even thinner. Our next stop takes us to the chilling legend of the Vampire of Medveda, a tale that would shape the vampire folklore we know today. Now, as we step away from the shadowy bargains of the Devil's Bridge, we find ourselves drawn into a darker, more chilling tale, one that takes us deep into the heart of Serbian folklore. Here, the legend of the Vampire of Medveda awaits, a story that not only terrifies but also lays the foundation for the vampire myths we know today. This is the tale of Sava Savanovic, one of the earliest recorded vampires in European history, and his haunting presence in the village of Medveda. Sava Savanovic is said to have lived in an old watermill near the Rogačica River, preying on unsuspecting millers who came to grind their grain. According to the legend, he would attack them, draining their blood and leaving their bodies lifeless. The villagers lived in fear of the mill, avoiding it at all costs until one brave soul decided to confront the terror. This confrontation, however, did not end the curse but instead cemented Sava's place in the annals of vampire lore. What makes this legend particularly fascinating is its historical and cultural context. The story of Sava Savanovic predates many of the more famous vampire tales, such as Bram Stoker's Dracula, by centuries. It reflects the deep-rooted fears and superstitions of rural communities in the Balkans, where the line between the living and the dead was often blurred. Vampires, in this context, were not just creatures of fiction but a very real part of the local belief system, tied to rituals and customs aimed at protecting the living from the undead. The influence of Sava Savanovic on vampire folklore cannot be overstated. His story embodies many of the traits we associate with vampires today: supernatural strength, a thirst for blood, and a connection to the night. Yet, it also offers a glimpse into the unique cultural elements of Serbian folklore. For example, the belief in vampires was often linked to improper burials or the restless spirits of those who died tragically. To prevent the dead from rising, villagers would perform rituals such as driving stakes through the hearts of suspected vampires or placing stones in their mouths to stop them from feeding. The legend of Sava Savanovic also highlights the role of storytelling in preserving cultural identity. For centuries, this tale was passed down orally, serving as both entertainment and a cautionary reminder of the dangers that lurked in the shadows. Today, it continues to captivate audiences, inspiring books, films, and even a modern-day tourist attraction at the old watermill, where visitors can explore the eerie setting of Sava's supposed haunt. As we leave the chilling tale of the vampire of Medveda behind, we prepare to step into a world of enchantment and magic, where fairy queens wielded power over mortals and the boundaries between the human and supernatural realms blurred. Our next stop takes us to the medieval tales of the Fairy Queen, a figure who embodies both beauty and danger in equal measure. Now, as we leave the shadowy realm of vampires behind, we step into a world of enchantment and wonder, where the boundaries between the human and supernatural blur. Here, the legends of fairy queens reign supreme, weaving tales of magic, power, and mystery that have captivated imaginations for centuries. Among these figures, two stand out as icons of medieval folklore: Morgan Le Fay and Titania, whose stories have left an indelible mark on literature and culture. Morgan Le Fay, often depicted as a powerful sorceress, is one of the most complex and intriguing figures in Arthurian legend. Known for her mastery of magic, she is both a healer and a manipulator, a protector and a provocateur. In some tales, she is portrayed as King Arthur's half-sister, using her powers to aid or hinder him depending on her whims. Her character embodies the duality of the fairy queen archetype, capable of great benevolence and equally great mischief. Stories of Morgan Le Fay often highlight her ability to shape-shift, cast spells, and command the forces of nature, making her a symbol of the untamed and unpredictable aspects of the supernatural world. Titania, on the other hand, emerges from the rich tapestry of European folklore as the queen of the fairies in Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. While her origins are less rooted in medieval legend than Morgan Le Fay's, Titania represents the ethereal and otherworldly qualities of fairy queens. She is a figure of beauty and grace, yet her power is undeniable. In Shakespeare's play, she commands the natural world, causing chaos and harmony in equal measure. Her interactions with mortals, particularly her entanglement with the human lovers in the story, underscore the fairy queen's role as a bridge between the human and magical realms. The tales of these fairy queens reflect the medieval fascination with the supernatural and the unknown. Fairy queens were often seen as guardians of nature, wielding power over the elements and the creatures of the forest. They could bestow blessings or curses depending on how they were treated by mortals. This duality made them both revered and feared, embodying the unpredictable forces of the natural world. In many stories, encounters with fairy queens served as cautionary tales, warning against arrogance, greed, or disrespect for the natural order. Beyond their roles in folklore, fairy queens like Morgan Le Fay and Titania have had a lasting impact on literature and popular culture. Morgan Le Fay's character has evolved over time, appearing in countless retellings of the Arthurian legends, from medieval romances to modern novels and films. Similarly, Titania's influence extends far beyond Shakespeare, inspiring countless adaptations and interpretations in art, theatre, and literature. These figures continue to fascinate us because they represent the allure of the unknown, the idea that there are forces in the world beyond our understanding, capable of both great wonder and great danger. As we prepare to leave the enchanting world of fairy queens behind, we turn our attention to one final legend, a tale of dragons, heroes, and the enduring power of myth. Our journey concludes with the story of the Dragon of Ljubljana, a creature whose legend is deeply woven into the identity of a city and its people. Now, as we step away from the enchanting tales of fairy queens, we find ourselves drawn to a legend that combines heroism, myth, and the enduring spirit of a city. Our final story takes us to the heart of Slovenia, where the legend of the Ljubljana dragon has become a defining symbol of the city's identity. This tale, steeped in both history and folklore, tells of a fearsome dragon that once terrorized the people of Ljubljana and the hero who rose to challenge it. According to the legend, the Ljubljana dragon was a monstrous creature that dwelled in the marshes surrounding the city. Its fiery breath and immense strength made it a formidable foe, and the people lived in constant fear of its wrath. The dragon's reign of terror seemed unstoppable until the arrival of Jason and the Argonauts. Yes, the very same heroes from Greek mythology, known for their quest for the Golden Fleece, found themselves facing this Slovenian beast during their travels. In some versions of the tale, Jason himself confronted the dragon, using his cunning and bravery to defeat it. Other accounts suggest that the Argonauts worked together to outsmart the creature, freeing the city from its grip. But the story of the Ljubljana dragon is more than just a tale of heroism. It is deeply intertwined with the city's identity and its history. The dragon has become a powerful symbol of Ljubljana, representing strength, resilience, and the triumph of good over evil. You can see its image everywhere in the city, on the coat of arms, on bridges, and even on the city's flag. The dragon is not just a mythical creature here, it is a source of pride and a reminder of the city's enduring spirit. The symbolism of the dragon also reflects the natural landscape of Ljubljana. The city is surrounded by water, with the Ljubljanica River winding through its heart. In ancient times, the marshes and wetlands were seen as mysterious and dangerous places, home to unknown creatures and hidden threats. The dragon, as a guardian of these waters, embodies the untamed power of nature and the challenges it presents. Yet, its defeat by Jason and the Argonauts also symbolizes humanity's ability to overcome adversity and shape its own destiny. Over the centuries, the legend of the Ljubljana dragon has inspired countless retellings and adaptations, from local folklore to modern literature and art. It has become a beloved part of Slovenian culture, celebrated in festivals, stories, and even in the city's architecture. The dragon's image on the iconic Dragon Bridge, with its fierce statues guarding the entrance, is a testament to its lasting impact. For the people of Ljubljana, the dragon is not just a myth, it is a living symbol of their heritage and their connection to the land. As we conclude our journey through these 30 forgotten European legends, the story of the Ljubljana dragon serves as a fitting finale. It reminds us that myths are more than just stories. They are reflections of our fears, our hopes, and our shared history. These legends, though often overlooked, continue to shape our understanding of the past and inspire our imaginations. So as we close this chapter, I encourage you to explore these tales further, to uncover the mysteries they hold, and to share your favorite legends in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to join us on more adventures into the fascinating world of history and myth. Until next time, keep exploring. As we bring our journey through these 30 forgotten European legends to a close, it's worth reflecting on the incredible richness of these stories and the lessons they hold. From the sunken city of Wise to the heroic deeds of the Ljubljana dragon, each tale offers a unique glimpse into the fears, dreams, and values of medieval Europe. These legends, though often overshadowed by more well-known myths, are treasures of cultural heritage, preserving the voices of the past in ways that continue to resonate today. What makes these stories so fascinating is not just their imaginative plots, but the way they reflect the societies that created them. They speak of moral dilemmas, the struggle between good and evil, and humanity's enduring quest to understand the unknown. Whether it's the eerie warning of the Pied Piper, the tragic romance of Melusine, or the supernatural terror of the Wild Hunt, these legends were more than entertainment. They were a way for people to make sense of their world. Yet, many of these tales have faded from popular memory, overshadowed by time or overshadowed by other narratives. Why were they forgotten? Perhaps it's because they were rooted in local traditions, passed down orally and never fully recorded. Or maybe they were simply eclipsed by larger, more dominant stories that captured the imagination of later generations. But their obscurity doesn't diminish their value. In fact, it makes them all the more intriguing, offering us a chance to rediscover hidden gems of history and folklore. These legends also remind us of the power of storytelling itself. They show how myths can shape identities, inspire art, and even influence historical events. The legend of Prester John, for example, fueled European exploration, while the tales of the Knights Templar have sparked centuries of conspiracy theories. Even today, these stories continue to inspire writers, filmmakers, and artists, proving that the past is never truly lost. It lives on in the stories we tell. So, what can we take away from these 30 forgotten legends? They remind us that history is not just a collection of dates and facts, but a tapestry of human experiences woven together by imagination and memory. They challenge us to look beyond the familiar and explore the lesser-known corners of our shared heritage. And most importantly, they invite us to keep these stories alive, to share them with others, and to find new meaning in their timeless themes. If you've enjoyed this journey through medieval legends, I encourage you to dive deeper into these tales. Explore the stories that resonate with you and share your favorites in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and celebrate the incredible diversity of European folklore. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an adventure into the fascinating world of history and myth. Until next time, keep exploring, and may these forgotten legends continue to inspire your imagination.